Number 10. Candace Owens. In 2020, when Harry Styles made history as the first male to have a solo cover of Vogue, what really surprised people was that he wore a dress. The conservative commentator did not approve of his clothing choice, and so she tweeted, "There is no society that can survive without strong men. The East knows this, in the West, the steady feminization of our men at the same time that Marxism is being taught to our children is not a coincidence. It is an outright attack. Bring back manly men." In response to this, Olivia Wilde called Candace pathetic for basically attacking Harry's gender expression and conflating wearing a dress with being feminine. Then in response to that tweet, Candace hit back at Olivia, tweeting, "You're single for a reason," referencing her split from longtime partner Jason Sudeikis, which was announced just days earlier. The Twitter feud recently resurfaced online and has since gone viral after the actress was spotted holding hands with Harry at one of his friends' weddings a few weeks ago. But many fans pointed to the tweets as evidence that Olivia has always been defending and standing up for Harry. Number 9. Shia LaBeouf. The actor was initially cast as Jack in Olivia Wilde's upcoming film Don't Worry Darling, which debuts in theaters this fall. However, news broke in September of 2020 that she had replaced him with Harry Styles. But the story that Olivia began circulating was a little different. She alleged that she fired Shia due to a no a-hole policy that she had while directing. She told Variety, "Shia's process was not conducive to the ethos that I demand in my productions. He has a process that, in some ways, seems to require a combative energy, and I don't personally believe that is conducive to the best performances. Ultimately, my responsibility is to production and to the cast to protect them." But Shia was not happy with this side of the story and decided to publicly expose Olivia. He emailed both the director and Variety and denied that he was fired, instead saying, "You and I both know the reasons for my exit. I quit your film because of your actors, and I couldn't find time to rehearse." And in the most explosive revenge move ever, Shia then leaked a video of Olivia practically begging him to stay in the film and making it seem like Florence Pugh was the problem and she was the one who didn't want him there. The video went viral and the result was utter chaos. Number 8. Amani Babaran. The author, influencer, and activist reacted to the hypocrisy surrounding the viral video that was leaked of Olivia Wilde addressing the feud between Shia LaBeouf and Florence Pugh. She tweeted, "This whole Olivia Wilde thing reminds me of the Whitney Cummings thing. Reminds me of so many recent incidents in Hollywood where white women have revealed that they acquire power in the industry not because they challenge norms but tout female empowerment while changing nothing." In the clip, the 38-year-old is seen driving a car and speaking to the camera at the same time. She tells Shia that she is not ready to give up on the possibility of him working on the film, despite the fact that she later claimed to have fired him. But in reality, the video exposed that she was the one pleading with him to stay on the project. Shia was pretty much out to expose her and wrote an email to Variety explaining how everything went down. Quote, "Firing me never took place, Olivia. And while I fully understand the attractiveness of pushing that story because of the current social landscape, the social currency that brings, it is not the truth. So I am humbly asking, as a person with an eye toward making things right, that you correct the narrative as best as you can."
Number 7, we have Harrison Ford. With claims that the devil was with them both, rumors started circulating that both Harrison and Pitt didn't get along while filming The Devil's Own. With Pitt noting that the film was the most irresponsible bit of filmmaking he's ever seen, majority of the two feuds came from the fact the actors couldn't decide which character should be the center of the film. With the two doing separate interviews about the film, Ford came out to say that for a second, Brad forgot for a minute he was talking to someone who was paid to write this stuff down. While the two were really excited to work with each other before the film started, it's sad to see that these great actors clash and let the worst get the best of them. Number 6, we have Mark Canton. Now, Harrison wasn't the only one who is said to had a feud with Brad Pitt while on the set of The Devil's Own. When Pitt claimed the film was irresponsible and that he couldn't believe how toxic the set was, news started to circulate that Pitt wanted to leave the film. That's when Mark Canton, the head of Columbia Pictures, had to threaten Pitt with a $63 million lawsuit that if he went through with the walkout, he was gonna sue him that. Mark even had to tell the actor that he didn't care and just to shoot something. While the filming was taking place, Pitt ultimately decided to avoid the lawsuit and stay on set. Number 5, we have Jennifer Aniston. Back in 1998, Jennifer and Brad were spotted on their first date, and by November of 1999, the two announced their engagement to the world, getting married on July 29, 2000. Despite both claiming they were madly in love with each other, ultimately, they decided to file for divorce on March 25, 2005, as rumors started circulating that Pitt may have had an intimate relationship with co-star Angelina Jolie while on set of Miss and Mr. Smith. Just after the divorce, Aniston agreed to do an interview with Vanity Fair where she opened up about still mourning her marriage and she desired just to move on. Aniston explained that her relationship sadly came to an end when it cracked open that she was shown photos of Pitt and Angelina, and she was sad because Pitt and Angelina beforehand denied both the allegations that they were together. Since the pair split, the two since seem to have rekindled their friendship and have gotten close since Pitt divorced Angelina Jolie.
Number 3, Mark Joseph Stern. When the 1929 movie Richard Jewell came out, it was steeped in controversy, mostly because of Olivia Wilde's portrayal of real-life journalist Kathy Scruggs. The real Kathy, who died in 2001, was working at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution when she broke a story that the FBI was investigating a security guard named Richard Jewell for the bombing in Centennial Olympic Park during the 1996 Olympics. But the issue with the movie was that it depicted the iconic female journalist as having traded sex for information, which was particularly offensive considering the fact that there was no evidence Kathy Scruggs ever did that, and even many of her past colleagues came forward condemning the movie. Slate's senior writer was among the loudest voices in protest of the film and slammed Olivia for her role. Quote, "Please do not pay to see movies that feature fictional female journalists who sleep with sources for a story. It's egregiously sexist, demeaning, and an insulting trope at this stage, and I don't see an appropriate response other than a flat-out boycott. It's 2019. Smart, thoughtful people have condemned this offensive trope loudly and consistently for years. They have persuasively explained why it is abhorrent. And he wasn't the only one taking offense." Number 2, Jessica Biel. There was once a claim out there that Jessica Biel did not want Justin Timberlake to be anywhere near his ex-girlfriend Olivia Wilde and allegedly sees her as a threat. It's completely understandable that Jessica wouldn't be jumping at the opportunity for Justin to work with Olivia again, given that in 2011 they were seen partying together at a Hollywood club called the Roxbury, and allegedly got pretty handsy before leaving together at 3 a.m. The actors, who were co-stars at the time in the movie Now, reportedly cuddled in a VIP section before moving out onto the patio. Eyewitnesses said that the two of them were even seen kissing. Even though Olivia responded to the rumors by tweeting, "Cool it, honey badgers, we are just friends and have been for years." But not only that, Jessica's marriage to Justin was also tested in 2019 when he was spotted with his co-star Alicia holding hands during a night out in New Orleans. The photos caused a huge scandal, and Justin had to make a public statement the following month, apologizing for his strong lapse in judgment and claimed that despite the photos, nothing happened between him and his co-star. So Justin certainly has a rocky history when it comes to infidelity. And coming in at number 1, Jason Sudeikis. After a 7-year engagement, the pair announced that they had separated in November of 2020. Like most celebrity couples that live in the public eye, their divorce is very messy, and so was their big public breakup and bitter custody battle over their 2 young children. But it seems like these two are still at each other's throats, which may or may not be due to the fact that Olivia allegedly cheated on Jason with Harry Styles, which was one of the main reasons for their split. In fact, it was heavily implied that the two of them had been having an affair for around a month before the breakup. And what made it even worse was that Jason reportedly didn't realize it was happening and even brought their children to visit the set. The actress and director was faced with a bitter surprise when she was served custody papers halfway through her talk. She later told Variety, "I hated that this nastiness distracted from the work of so many different people, and the studio that I was up there representing try and sabotage that was really vicious." But you know, sadly, it was not something that was entirely surprising to me. I mean, there's a reason that I left that relationship. Ouch. Number 10, Prince Harry. Since stepping down from royal duties, Prince Harry has made his disdain for Charles pretty apparent, but he took his family beef to the next level when he criticized Charles's parenting on Dax Shepard's Armchair Expert podcast. The 36-year-old claimed that his father handed down a cycle of genetic pain and suffering to him, which is why he and his wife Meghan Markle moved to Los Angeles. Harry says that they got out of the royal family to break the cycle. Quote, "He treated me be the way he was treated. So how can I change that for my kids? We as parents should be doing the most we can do to try and say, you know what, that happened to me and I'm gonna make sure that doesn't happen to you. Harry went on to describe his life as a royal as a mixture of the Truman Show and being in a zoo. In fact, Harry said that he had debated leaving the royal family since his early 20s because of what it did to his mom, which contradicts the narrative that Meghan was the one who wanted to leave. Number 9. Meghan Markle. During her explosive interview with Oprah Winfrey, the Duchess of Sussex claimed that someone in the family had expressed concern about the complexion of her child's skin. It was then that the allegations started to snowball, and Prince Harry told the Star that the incident happened right at the beginning of the pregnancy and left him a bit shocked. Meghan told Oprah, "In those months when I was pregnant, all around the same time, we have in tandem the conversation of he won't be given security, he's not going to be given a title, and also concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born." Then a royal book by Christopher Anderson revealed that a source close to the family claimed that it was Charles who made the comment during a conversation over breakfast with his wife Camilla on the day that Meghan and Harry's engagement was announced. He allegedly asked Camilla, "I wonder what the children will look like," and lowering his voice asking, "I mean, what do you suppose the children's complexion might be?" So it wasn't exactly subtle. Number 8. Trevor Noah. The Daily Show host made it clear that he is not a fan of the new king at all and decided to make fun of his pen complaints. The British monarch got the whole internet laughing with his bizarre behavior because it was all caught on camera. The first time he frantically urged staff to clear the extra pens from his desk while he signed his accession proclamation. The second time was when he got really mad over a leaky pen, saying, "I can't bear this bloody thing. What do they do every stinking time?" But Trevor Noah thought he was being ridiculous and said, "What the hell was that? Did you see that thing that he did? He's also the ruler of an animal kingdom. I love how Charles says the pens leak on him all the time. You're literally the king of England, dude. If you don't like the pens, get different pens. I'm not an expert in the monarchy, but I'm pretty sure the hierarchy doesn't go Prince William, King Charles, and then the guy who buys the pens." Number 7. Tao Ruspoli. Olivia met her first husband, filmmaker and Italian prince Tao Ruspoli, through a friend of her family's in late 2002. The actress wasn't initially eager to meet him, but she warmed to the idea and she was charmed by his personality, charisma, and political activism. Just 6 months later, they eloped and seemed to be truly happy, and would eventually go on to pursue several film projects together. But in March of 2011, 8 years after eloping, Olivia filed for divorce from Tao. He did seem to be a lot more heartbroken out of the two of them, and even made a documentary called Monogamish, which was inspired by his heartbreak over the divorce. In the film, he revealed, "My wife just left me after nearly 10 years together, and my whole world has crumbled." But for her part, it seemed like Olivia almost wanted to embarrass her ex. In 2020, at an event hosted by Glamour Mag, she discussed trying to fake happiness with her ex-husband towards the end of her marriage. In fact, she aired out all their dirty laundry and talked about how bad their sex life was. Quote, "I felt like my vagina died. Turned off, lights out. You can lie to your relatives at Christmas dinner and tell them everything on the home front is just peachy, but you cannot lie to your Even if she was joking, that would have been a little painful for anyone to hear. Number 6. Gianmarco Soresi. As Olivia Wilde was presenting at CinemaCon and talking about her new movie Don't Worry Darling, a woman from the audience approached her and handed her a yellow envelope, which read "Personal and Confidential." The whole thing was caught on camera. As the actress opened the envelope, she found that it was custody papers from her former partner Jason Sudeikis. After a brief moment of shock, she decided to continue on with her presentation, but later addressed the bizarre moment in an interview with Variety. Quote, "In any other workplace, it would be seen as an attack. It was really upsetting. It shouldn't have been able to happen. There was a huge breach in security, which is really scary. The incident put Jason in a really bad light, but surprisingly, some people thought it was staged." Gianmarco Soresi, a New York actor and stand-up comedian, seemed to believe that the whole thing was a PR stunt. He tweeted, "We're a couple of days away from finding out that Olivia Wilde served herself custody papers." Not only did his tweet blow up, but a lot of people were apparently thinking the same thing. As another user wrote, "On the very same day, Olivia just announced the release of the trailer of her new movie, and days later, Jason started a new project. As if they wanted all the attention on them. Open your eyes." Wow. Number 4, Vanessa Hudgens. When the High School Musical star made some pretty controversial comments complaining about having to quarantine and COVID restrictions, Olivia Wilde was quick to shut her down. During the Instagram live, Vanessa Hudgens said, "Yeah, till July sounds like a bunch of BS. I'm sorry. It's a virus. I get it. I respect it. But at the same time, like, even if everybody gets it, people are gonna die, which is terrible, but like inevitable." Her tone-deaf comments earned her a whole bunch of backlash on social media, especially from Olivia, who slammed her in a tweet of her own, writing, "In 1,000 years, they'll dig up our society and find this precious digital moment and be like, oh okay, so this is why they mysteriously disappeared from the earth." She also left emojis of a head shaking in disappointment. All the criticism ultimately led the actress to return to her Instagram to clear up the misunderstandings. Vanessa wrote, "Hey guys, so yesterday I did an Instagram live and I realized that some of my comments are being taken out of context," and she proceeded to apologize for coming off as insensitive. It's unclear whether or not the two have made up since 2020, but it's likely Vanessa is still feeling the sting from being burned online. Number 3, Boris Johnson. The former Prime Minister and the new reigning monarch always had a rocky relationship, but they got into a major spat when Boris started pushing the controversial Rwanda asylum plan. The policy would have allowed the government to remove asylum seekers who crossed the channel to the UK and send them to Rwanda to claim asylum there instead. In short, Boris thought it was a great plan and Charles said that the idea sounded appalling. The former British PM hit back at his comments, saying that most people could see that criminal gangs need to be stopped and that it's the job of the government to stop people breaking the law. But their relationship really began to sour and Charles eventually invited Boris to his estate for a meeting, which was a complete disaster from start to finish, as Boris reportedly didn't show him any respect and there was clearly a lot of tension between them. Number 2, Nigel Farage. The broadcaster and former politician was quick to criticize King Charles's opinion on the controversial Rwanda policy. Farage took to Twitter and slammed his comments, writing, "Unless Prince Charles wants to destroy the monarchy, he had better shut up fast." Not only did he disagree with his point of view, but the fact that he expressed it at all, considering that yes, he is a royal and should not be making his political opinions public. But Farage really came under fire after posting a clip that seemed to mock Queen Elizabeth's death. He shared a 5-second clip to his TikTok account, which has now been viewed more than 6 million times, with the caption, "The Queen is dead, long live the King." In the video, Nigel looked and sounded incredibly sarcastic and said, "The Queen is dead, long live the King, sad day that we now have a king." He also shared the post on Twitter. No one was really sure what he meant by it, but a lot of people thought it was inappropriate considering how little emotion he showed while making the announcement. And coming in at number 1, Princess Catherine. The royals are known for their discretion and their decorum, so you might not know that the new King of England did not get along with his daughter-in-law at all. Although Kate and William have been an item for over a decade, Charles reportedly didn't embrace her when she was first introduced to the family and did not approve of their relationship. Part of the reason was because they were immensely popular, and Kate and William would send the media into a tailspin every time they left the palace. Their whirlwind romance began just a few years after Charles married Camilla, and unfortunately the older couple didn't seem too happy about sharing the spotlight with the younger couple. In 2011, the pair flew to Canada and LA on their first official trip as a royal couple. They reportedly hoped to impress King Charles, but all he seemed to care about was the fact that they posed in too many tasteless photos. So Kate's relationship with her father-in-law was rocky from the beginning.
Coming in at number 9, we have Mark Forrester. It's claimed that since 2012, Mark Forrester and Brad Pitt refused to talk to each other, and probably for good reason. It's said that the relationship between the actor and director broke down to a degree that when they were filming the zombie apocalypse film, World War Z, the two had to communicate through third parties on set. With the film working on a tight deadline and the script being finalized and release dates being pushed back, and Pitt having final approval over new pages written by the writers, things definitely got a little heated on set. While Pitt wanted to salvage the end of the movie, Forrester wanted to scrap it and make the ending more simple. When Mark opened up about the drama, he said he believed he wasn't the problem in the first place, and rather than chucking more CGI at the problem, Mark stuck with his gut and basically kept pushing till the problem went away. So kudos for him for having the strength to do that. At number 8, we have Tom Cruise. Now, the pair starred in the 1994 film Interview with the Vampire. Pitt stated he couldn't stand working with Tom Cruise and that he found him annoying. Brad also noted that while they were filming the film, the actor felt miserable and that Cruise bugged him so much, it came to the point he started to resent him. The filming was so bad, at one point Cruise even tried to get off the film by asking the producer and film executive, David Geffen, how much it would cost, and David told him $40 million. Ultimately, Cruise decided to stay on the film, and the finished product shows that Pitt and Cruise had tension as both appeared to look exhausted. With the new Maverick sequel hitting box office, Tom wasn't shy to remind folks that he's back on top in Hollywood while his past co-host is nowhere near.
Number 7. Jesse Armstrong. The creator and writer of HBO's Succession decided to use his acceptance speech at this year's Emmys to take a dig at King Charles. Jesse Armstrong graced the stage twice, once to pick up an award for his writing on the show, and again with the entire cast and crew to receive the Outstanding Drama Series award. He said, "A big week for Successions. New king in the UK, this for us. Evidently a little more voting involved in our winning than Prince Charles." Even in a room full of Americans, the audience was very shocked at this risky joke, and gasps could be heard on live broadcast. When there was a bit of an uncomfortable silence, the show's lead actor Brian Cox told him, "Keep it royalist," but Jesse kept going and said, "I'm not saying we're more legitimate in our position than he is. We'll leave that to the other people." According to eyewitness accounts, there was very little laughter in the room and most people just felt plain awkward. Number 6. Tony Blair. The royals are expected to understand that party politics and individual politicians are totally off limit for public comment. Former British Prime Minister Tony Blair was so furious about Prince Charles's behaviour during his time in Downing Street that he reportedly complained about him to Queen Elizabeth. He accused Charles of crossing the line and meddling in political matters by trying to influence government policy. The ex-Labour leader was said to have become exasperated by his interventions over agriculture, the armed forces, architecture and homeopathy, and even genetically modified foods. Then scandal erupted for both men in 2015 when they became embroiled in the scandal known as the Black Spider Memos, which was a collection of 27 letters that Charles sent from 2004 to 2005 lobbying the British PM for the policy changes that he hoped for. This was a pretty big controversy considering that members of the royal family are supposed to stay out of politics and remain neutral, especially the ones who were always destined to be king. Number 5. Princess Diana. When Prince Charles wed Diana in 1981 in front of a global television audience of more than 750 million people, the couple seemed to be perfect for each other. But behind the scenes, the marriage had extreme problems, and it became apparent that Charles was having an affair with Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall. A heartbroken Diana bravely decided to expose the affair in an infamous 1992 interview, saying, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." Subsequently, Charles publicly admitted to being unfaithful in his own interview, and the couple eventually divorced in 1996. With his admission of guilt, there was already public outrage growing against him, but it all came to a head when the princess was killed in a Paris car crash in 1997. From that point on, there were vitriolic outpourings in the press against both him and Camilla, and his popularity sank to an all-time low. So the British public, who is still very protective of Diana, still haven't been able to forgive Charles for how he treated her during their ill-fated marriage. Number 4. Richard Rogers. The award-winning British architect had made it known that when it comes to his career and livelihood, his biggest enemy is King Charles, who has used his power and influence on several occasions to step in at the last minute and object to Richard's designs. In one instance, Charles personally wrote a letter to his client, the Prime Minister of Qatar, another royal, to say that Richard's design was too modern to be built on a site that was so close to Christopher Wren's 17th century Chelsea Hospital. So the architect was kicked off the job and the British architectural establishment was up in arms. Richard said, "I don't believe that the Prince of Wales understands architecture. He thinks it is fixed at one point in the past. He occupies a privileged position, and he should not use that to damage the livelihoods of the people that he disagrees with." While it's common knowledge that Charles has a huge disdain for modern architecture, which is probably classist in some way or another, it seems as though he is not above ruining someone's career over his taste in buildings.
Number 3, we have Leonardo DiCaprio. Before the 2019, when the pair filmed Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it said that Leonardo DiCaprio actually had a restraining order against Pitt, and ultimately, that's why they didn't star any films together before 2019. In an interview, Brad joked that an incident they were no longer like to talk about happened as a result of the pair not getting along. In 1994, when Pitt was engaged to 90s blonde icon Gwyneth Paltrow, it said that Gwyneth broke Brad Pitt's heart when she ended their engagement, and after the breakup, it's rumored that Gwyneth was seen with Leonardo DiCaprio, and the pair was seen together. This obviously didn't sit well with Pitt, and his actions were pretty questionable towards DiCaprio, causing the restraining order to be put in place. However, in 2019, the stars both squashed their beef and are now said to be the bestest of friends. Number 2, we have Mike Tyson. Brad Pitt has always been in the headlines when it comes to his relationships, and this particular fling, no one saw coming. In 1988, Mike Tyson explained he was seeing now ex-wife Robin Givens when he caught Robin and Brad together. Tyson claimed he was mad and hurt by the incident, and he and Robin shortly after finalized their divorce. While Tyson claimed he was hurt by the whole ordeal, he also noted that he holds no ill feelings towards the top-ranked actor. Number 1, we have Angelina Jolie. Now, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt have had an ongoing feud since their split in 2016. With the two being locked in a messy court battle for divorce, the custody of their children, Angelina recently brought up some completely shocking allegations against Pitt that haven't been discussed to the public before. The allegations claim Pitt was passionately aggressive, not only towards Jolie, but their children as well. While Pitt has decided to remain silent on the new allegations, Angelina is definitely set to expose more allegations to the public soon, which is definitely going to be hard for Brad Pitt to bounce back from this one.